Hello, beautiful people. Thank you for tuning in. We are live. Are we live?
Live.
Yes. So thank you so much for tuning in, whether you're live with me or you're watching this as a replay. I really appreciate it. I wanted to come on and talk about snacks. And, as most of you know, or maybe you don't, maybe you're new here. My name's Jennifer Diamond. I live a whole food plant exclusive, SOFAs-free, gluten-free lifestyle for health and well-being. And, one thing that comes up no matter what way you eat are snacks. Like, are they good? Is it a good idea to snack? How does the snacking affect a person and digestion? And so I thought I would share with you some of my thoughts. And maybe if you're here live, you would be kind enough to interact with me and let's talk about it. But before I get started with snacking, I just, I feel so strongly about whole foods and the benefits that I just want to share just a little tidbit of the National Health Association. And if you haven't heard of the National Health Association, or the NHA as they call themselves, it's a wonderful place to go online. And they have a magazine. I think it's $35 for a year for their subscription. And they, I think, put out 4 a year. And these are beautiful magazines. They have no advertisement in them. And their interviews and their scientific studies, all based around whole food, plant-based. Their spotlight stories, and people put in recipes. And last year, I did the NHA's virtual conference. They have a conference once a year in Ohio, and I paid a fee. I can't remember exactly how much it was last year, and it was like a weekend event, and I was able to join right from home. And I can't say enough wonderful things about the experience. I learned so much. And I even had fun. They had dancing and music at the end. And it was just such a wonderful thing for me that I bought tickets and I'm going there live this year. And I'm really excited about that. And so the reason I thought I would just take a few minutes to share that with you is because you can join if you want this year, the virtual way. And I have a link that I'm going to post below that will allow you to get the early bird discount of $97 for the whole weekend. And it's going to be this summer, so it's not for a few more months, and I'm going to share all of the details. But I just wanted to let you know if you're interested in checking it out, and you can't get enough community, I believe, and this is just one of many ways to do that. So going back to the reason that I really wanted to get on live here with you guys was to talk about snacking. And I have some snacks here. I'm going to move these beautiful flowers over so you can see all my snacks. And so, snacking, what does that mean to people? Like, it could mean fruit, and I've got a bunch of fruit here, right? We've got pear, this is a grapefruit, and mango, and an apple that I actually started, but I didn't finish. And that was with my lunch. I just was finishing up some lunch. And so I wouldn't consider that a snack, but because I didn't finish, maybe it would be in the snack section. And of course, apples are a fruit that people use for snacking. I also have this gigantic papaya. I love papaya, but that could be considered a snack. And then dried fruit, right? So here's some dried organic jackfruit. And what a great snack, right? Raisins. And then on this side, here's some wonderful, carrots and celery. I have microgreens, and you could eat it just like that. Or in this little red container, I have what's left of some homemade hummus. And so that could be a great snack, Then we have I've got beet chips, which are a great snack. They're just dehydrated beets. If you haven't seen them, I'll show you. And they do stain my hands. This beautiful reddish pink color. Let's see, they just show you, so they're like little chips. And who doesn't, traditionally chips were my thing. That was a great snack, chips and salsa. I always, back in the day when I was a kid, I loved Doritos and tortilla chips and so forth. And then, if you haven't recently seen, I did share about tiger nuts. And I have a video on what tiger nuts are, but that's a good snack. These happen to be the shredded ones that are kind of like sliced up. And then we have, nuts and seeds. I just pulled out some pumpkin seeds here, but any kind of nuts and seeds could be great snacks. And then popcorn. This happens to be Rancho Gordo popcorn, but I'll show you on this side. This is red, but you know yellow popcorn, white popcorn, movie theater popcorn. And, so can we benefit from snacks? I mean, do you think that these are nutritious mostly, or maybe you think all of them are nutritious forms of snacks? I talked about some that maybe aren't so great, like processed crackers and chips. I said chips, but crackers are included. So why do I think that this is a topic that we should discuss? Well, there are snacking that's like part of our society, here in the US and in a lot of places. So, when you go to do something fun with your family or with your loved one or on a date or with your children or even alone, the example is the movies. Okay, so most of us that grew up, either you went to the movies to go to the concession stand and get your soda and your popcorn and your candy, either or whatever. I know they sell like pretzels and hot dogs. I'm trying to remember because it's been so long. But popcorn, that is a huge thing that they sell. Popcorn with the butter, and I don't even think is real butter, but I don't know. And that's like an event, it's not just the movie. When I was a kid, we could never really afford to go to the concession stand, so we always snuck in our treats, but we always had something to snack on in the movies. And, when I think about it now, with this example, I'm sitting in the theater, or people sit in the theater and mindlessly, hand to mouth, eat. I mean, first of all, are you really tasting the food? Are you thinking about what's happening? And I think about the breakdown in the cellular wall and how it's healing me. And then, what about popcorn? It's airy and it's dried. So it's not like, corn, right, in its whole form, which has fiber and water and things that give us satiation. But popcorn, and then what do we put on it, right? Popcorn is something that that is a snack that we do in this example. So, anyways, I want to talk about popcorn. I hope I remember. I want to talk about something else regarding popcorn. But hi, Gina. Gina is here. So welcome. I'm so glad to see that you were able to pop on. And if you just were tuning in, of course, I was just mentioning a little bit about the NHA conference that's coming up. And I put a link in the show notes. And you can watch the replay if you want to learn about how great the virtual NHA will be if you can't go in person. But going back to snacking, we were just talking, I was showing all of the snacks that I have here, and I was specifically talking about popcorn. So just to finish up with popcorn, well, maybe I did kind of, but snacking, like we do mindless snacking. And my example was in the movies where we just, don't even know what we're eating. So what if you are just hungry and you're not in the movies and you just want some of these snacks? Well, that might be fine and you might be okay with that. But what I have learned, or what I am learning, is that if you have your meal and then if I see you can't wait to go, you're going to the NHA, yes. So we're going together, and I hope people that are watching will consider going virtually if they can't go in person, and it will be a fun thing. It's amazing. But let's see, I got off track now. What I was saying. Well, we'll just start over because I can't I can't remember. Oh, that's me. She said, mindless snacking, hand to mouth eating. I can't do it. Yeah. And so, I'm going to back it up since I can't remember where I was going. And when you're at the movies or when you're going to the movies or, even in your past, traditionally speaking, people, that's part of the experience, right? That concession stand with all that stuff, that's not really going to benefit us. But I think what I was starting to say is that if we snack, and even if it's good food, like the fruits and vegetables and the hummus and the different things that I have sitting here as examples, if we snack, is that our body telling us something? Like maybe we need to eat a meal, or maybe the last meal we had was so many hours ago, we're ready for the next meal. And why is that important? Well, in my opinion, I think that if we give our bodies a meal that's going to be satiating and going to offer all the wonderful benefits that whole food plant SOFA's free gluten free offer, at least in my case, I should be full and happy and not really looking or searching for snacks. If I don't eat enough, even if it's the right foods, let's say I don't eat enough, the volume, the amount, I might find myself doing some old behavior, looking in a cabinet, looking in a drawer, looking for what? Nothing looks good. I don't really want it, but I find myself in some kind of bag, right? Chip bag, or and then just doing this just because I'm not going to get full off of that. It's not really a meal, and especially on the choice of snack that you have, if it's something dry like these things, you're going to have an awful lot of it. And if weight loss is your thing, you might want to really look at that, because if you know anything about calorie density, that can cause a problem, because then you eat so much more than you would if there was the fiber and the water in it and things that are in a meal. And same with nuts and seeds. I mean, they're healthy, but it's really high in calories if you're just eating a little handful and you're hungry still. So let's say I just had my breakfast and I'm not going to snack. And now I'm feeling hungry. It's a handful of hours later and I'm going to have my lunch. What do you think might be beneficial to my body for skipping the snack portion? Well, when we eat, our body has to break down the food. We have to do the whole digestive process. And it takes a lot of time to break down and digest. And it takes a lot of energy, and it takes a lot of work on our body. Not like we're going to get tired of digesting, but your body isn't resting and rejuvenating itself. So if you give it that window of time between meals, the body has a chance to, okay, I finished digesting. Now I'm not hungry really yet. We're not going to eat again for a little while. What else could I do? Maybe I could go around and clean up some cells that need repair or to be gotten rid of. And so I think that that's something to really consider when you're thinking about snacking, right? So are you hungry and you need a meal? Are you just not satisfied with the meal and you're looking for something else? And then also think about what's happening in your body and what are your goals? Weight loss, healing, all of those things. Are you giving your body a chance to digest? So let me take a peek here and see what Gina said. Let's see. Or did we eat enough the last meal? Yeah, which is what I'm saying. Yes, absolutely. It's a great question and legitimate. And so when we, oh, hi, Anne. Thanks for joining. It's so good to see you. And so we're just talking about snacks, and I just started talking about like snacking can cause, oh my goodness, I don't know if you might not be able to hear it, but it is pouring rain here. All of a sudden, it's really loud. I get sidetracked. Snacking can hinder our ability to clean up with cells and to have the body rest. And so, Hey, 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 there's Janet, plant-powered peddler. Hi, hun. Hi, everyone. And so, if we allow our bodies to have a break in between the meals and do something else, I think that it's worth like considering and looking at. And I'm wondering, does anybody else have any thoughts about that? And so if you're just tuning in, I'll do a quick recap. And just let you know that I was talking about health, even healthy snacks, like all these different snacks that I have here, carrots and celery and microgreens. I have hummus and, all the fruit and then the dried stuff, popcorn and all this stuff. It's even if it's good, like, is it good to snack though, regardless? Because we also talked about stuff that I don't have out here. Which are like chips and crackers and all this stuff that you would see at parties. I mean, oh my gosh, that's another great example. Parties. And I am super guilty of putting out snacks at my family gatherings. I think that we're just programmed to do that. And I also talked earlier about the movie theater and how the mindful eating, and that's just part of the experience. Even though when you talk about, hey, let's go see a movie, aren't you talking about watching something, a story or an experience? But part of it has become the popcorn and candy and all that other stuff. So let me see what everyone is saying here. Let's see. Gina said, I agree with giving the body a chance for cellular repair. I mean, when I learned about that, wow, what a light bulb went off. I thought, oh my goodness, of course, because I realized that happens when we sleep. It's a good idea, at least I try to go to bed a few hours, finish my meal a few hours before I go to bed, so that when I go to bed, my body's not still working to digest. It can go into sleep mode and all the wonderful things that happen in sleep mode. And that is, at a cellular level. And then when I realized, well, of course, that's got to happen also during the day, I was just mind blown. And no, I'm not perfect. And no, I don't always get a chance to go to bed 3 or 4 hours after my meal, but I certainly try and I strive to, because I know that my sleep is better and all kinds of things happen. And so let's see what else we have here. You've been listening. Thanks, Janet. Gina says, especially if we are trying to regain our health. Yes. Serenity Bloom. Hi. Thank you so much for tuning in. Regaining your health is a huge one. And it could be like I am with the nerve issue and osteoporosis and Hashimoto's and autoimmune and like all of those things. But also, right, all the chronic disease that we have going on in our society, like diabetes and high blood pressure and cholesterol and heart disease and, all of these things. And if we don't allow our body to have a break sometimes in between, it might not be able to do as much healing and repairing on a cellular level as if we had given it breaks. I mean, nobody taught me that ever, like growing up. And nowadays, a lot of people watch TV when they're eating dinner. They're busy doing other things, and they're not even, some family members, like they don't even sit down at the table. They just are like, well, and I can say this because I've seen it within my family and other places that, they'll eat when they want to, maybe a child or a teenager or something. And that is kind of snacking. And then you never stop. The whole day goes, well, what did you eat? Well, I snacked all day. Have you heard of that? Right? Let's see. You're at work and you need encouragement as everyone eats pancakes. Okay, well, I appreciate you sharing that. And I know that can be a really tough place to be. And that is interesting, right? So you're at work. I don't know what time it is in Hawaii right there. You're still in Hawaii. And the smell, I get it. Can you look at it like snacking? Maybe they're all snacking because, pancakes at work. Okay. And and the smell will linger. Maybe, is it a lunchtime for you? We were talking about how if you're full and satiated, sometimes those things don't bother you as much. And, I'm proud of you for checking in, and I hope that we're being supportive here. And I'm finding that giving up the caffeine is letting me sleep better, and I think also helping with digestion. I'm sure it is. Bringing up caffeine, that's really interesting because I was really into the green decaf green tea. And I thought decaf really meant that there was no caffeine. And what I learned was even decaf has caffeine. And when I stopped, I had a headache for a few days. I couldn't believe it because I was drinking green tea with decaf for health. I heard so many wonderful things, and I think it does have a lot of wonderful things, but my body is so sensitive to even that little bit was affecting my sleep and things that I didn't even realize. So good for you. And I'm glad to hear that you're recognizing the digestion. And I wonder how can you recognize the digestion? Is it that you just don't have stomach upset or, those kinds of things? Let me see. Serenity blooms. Oh, 10 a.m. Okay. So, I guess depending on what you're used to, 10 a.m. could be my lunch or my breakfast, I guess. I'm in my office. It doesn't help. Oh, I have my food. Just listening helps. Good. Yeah. And Gina says, Tracy, if it happens a lot, is it possible to get it? Ooh, that's a great idea. I love that. Get essential oils to smell during those times. Yes. And you know what? I think JP on his retreat, the Pillars of, what is the name of his retreat? The Pillars of Health. Yeah, Pillars of Health, I think it is. JP, John Pierre, he did an amazing retreat that I was able to go to last year. And they were talking all about essential oils and even putting like a drop of, does anyone remember what? It was a drop of a certain one that if you did put something in your mouth, it would kind of be like if you drank orange juice after you brushed your teeth, it would just not work. And so that was a really helpful tip. Thank you for reminding me of that, Gina. Clove. Yes. Janet was there with me. Clove. And has anyone tried that? I've never tried that. I don't even have clove essential oil. I have peppermint, and I got it when I was there. And I like to smell it it helps with headaches and stuff. But, so you have this. So Serenity Bloom says that she has that essential oil clove. So that's a great idea. So here we go, helping each other. And, but I would like to just, kind of ask, actually, before I ask, I'm just going to go back to the popcorn thing. I want to talk about something about the popcorn. So when I was starting my journey with veganism, whole food, plant-based, a few years before I had some of these last bouts when I was anemic and I had some other stuff, sometimes I was either tired, I didn't have a plan for a meal, and I was hungry. It was the end of the day, and I would just make a big bowl of popcorn, right? Because popcorn is a low calorie. If you don't put anything on it, butter or any of that kind of stuff, no salt. If you just, put things like what I used to put on here would be Benson's Table Tasty or some of the California balsamic, and you mix it up, and that would be like my spice on it, or just plain, but cinnamon. I mean, you could do maple syrup. There's all kinds of stuff, right? And so I would make a half a cup of this, and it would make this gigantic bowl of popcorn. And I would eat it to myself. And you know what? I got full. I knew it wasn't giving me, some of the other non-beneficial foods, from the standard American diet. And what I realize now is that there's no nutrients to call this a meal. And so if you do enough of that type of snacking or not really paying attention to what is in the food that you're choosing to eat, I believe that maybe that could have been part of the reason that I became anemic, because I wasn't eating the right amount. I'm not saying don't ever eat popcorn. I'm not saying that. I love popcorn. I think there's a time and a place for it, but I'm just saying, like, there's different ways to think about different things, right? Where we snack, if snacking is appropriate, and also about the types of foods that we choose when we're trying to better ourselves. So let's see what some people are saying here. Anne talks about, I sleep longer, wake more refreshed, and don't feel like I still have undigested food hanging around yet. Sometimes I would hear the digestion, oh, in the morning and not now. Oh, wow. You are so in tune with yourself. What a gift. And good for you. And how long has it been? And Gina, I hate clove. You do? Well, then that would be a good one to put on your tongue, because then you do not want to mix it with anything else, right? So do you guys snack? And if you snack, what kind of snacks are your go-to snacks? Do you go with something that's, a fruit or a dehydrated, fruit, fresh fruit, kind of with the sweet family, dates even? Oh man, now that's getting serious when you bring up dates, because those are like caramel candy to me. Or do you go with, something more like the vegetables and dips, or any of these things, or something else? Let's see. Oh, Anne is talking still about her caffeine free new life here. About 1 month she's been. Okay, good. The first week was horrible. Oh, I'm sorry. But if you stick with it, they will go away. I'm guessing that maybe the horrible part, for me, it was headaches. I'm guessing maybe it's headaches. Well, I'm glad you stuck with it. And, we're all on this journey to better health, and we got to just listen to ourselves, because we're all different people. Yes, headaches. Yes, headaches. So do you need to replace that, Anne, with something? You're not having the caffeine. So are you eating something? Are you snacking? I'm just curious. The snacking thing is like a big, like, light bulb moment for me. I was going to say a big deal, but it's not that it's a big deal. It's just interesting that when you think you got it down pretty much, the foods that you want to have in your life, and then it's all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, but I heard information that was like, well, now think about timing. And I think timing is another word for snacking, right? Are you just a constant? And you know what? I think Janet's just listening, but Janet from Plant Powered Peddler, she is on a bike for sometimes 20 to 70 plus miles. And I love her stories. And she carries all her own food. Just like when I travel, I carry my food. And when I say I travel, it could be just going, a half an hour away for the day, or it could be international. It could be a lot of different things. But do you pack snacks? Or are you just packing meals? So Gina says, snacking for me is all or nothing. Oh, really? So what does that mean exactly? Snacking is all or nothing. You mean you're either going to snack all day or you're not going to snack. Is that what you mean? I'm interested to hear about that. And Anne doesn't drink I drink hot herbal teas. Okay, so maybe that's your replacement. So you didn't have to go into the snacking. Gina says, I just can't. She says, I can't snack. Okay, so you know yourself. Now, why do you say you can't snack? Do you say you can't snack because why? Because you'll keep going? You can't stop kind of thing, I can't snack? Or is it because you want to give your body the healing opportunity, or is it something else? Let me know. Anne says she can't snack either. And they both, Anne and Gina, say, I won't stop. And you know what? So that goes to, is that old behavior? Is that a memory? Is that a comfort thing, do you think? Right? Not being able to stop. Is it because of this hand to mouth movement thing? You know, when I was at JP's retreat, they gave out, not these, but they gave out chopsticks. Actually, these might actually be the ones. I have other ones. They gave out chopsticks. I think these are the chopsticks from there. And this was to help with not snacking or eating too much, right? And they gave us soup. They had other things too, but I remember the soup. And I thought, how am I going to eat soup with this? And it was just to try to do something different. It was for different reasons, but you know what? Slowing down the eating instead of hand, like, right? We could do snacks with a handful. I mean, I've seen my husband take handfuls of, you know, something snacky that he's really enjoyed in the past. And, you know, I mean, or even like cereal. There was a time when he would take out a cereal and I would say to him, aren't you going to pour it in a bowl? And no, he would, you know, doesn't even need hands or fingers. But if you are eating, you know, food and you find that you're eating it too fast, whether it's snacking or not, this was a great tool to play with. It's fun. It slows you down. And if you don't know how to use these, make sure you have a long lunch break. If you're a master at it, like I think Janet was pretty good and she did it the whole week. They said, well, challenge yourself and use the non-dominant hand. Whoa! But make sure you eat enough no matter what at your meal time so that you don't start to look for snacking. Let me see if anybody's saying anything. Oh, Anne says, or if I do stop, I will pick it up and do it again. Yes, hand to mouth. And Gina says, usually when I want a snack, it's for distraction or emotional reasons. That is another great point. So going for a minute back to Anne, picking it back up. I mean, and I'm not picking up on my husband, but because we live together and I see him as an example all the time. I can even say this about my mom growing up and even myself. There were times when you do that, right? You go to the cabinet, you take out whatever, you eat it, you go, and then all of a sudden, as soon as you're on your way to go to another room, you just happen to go back over here and do it again. And you just keep going around and around and around and around. Instead of thinking about it, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Maybe I'm hungry. So that's interesting that you brought that up. And then Gina, distraction and emotional reasons. Well, hey, I totally get that. I have, even in this journey, this recent journey of mine, had a rough day, a rough time, a rough emotional whatever, and have even like said to my husband, I'm eating this, XYZ, whatever. And it was never like anything crazy. It was still my food, but you know, maybe it was a higher caloric than I wanted to or something like that. But yeah, we're feeding the emotions. We're giving ourselves a hug and some love in a way that a lot of us were brought up. I mean, I remember being a little kid and I remember people, and I say people because I'm trying to remember if this happened to me or if I just saw it within my family. You know, somebody falls down, like a little kid falls down. Oh, and I think I did this too to my kids. It's okay. Do you want a popsicle? Do you want a snack? So then we learn when we are having emotional issues, we go back to what we were programmed to do. And this might not be for everyone. These are just my own examples or some of the ones that you guys are, you know, sharing with me. And we want to self-soothe. And how do we do that? Well, a lot of times we've been programmed to do what we know, and that's snack. And so this is a kind of a good thing. So what other things could we do? You know, Gina, what else do you do if you stay away from snacking, if you're having an emotional time or a stressful time? You know, I think I could rationally say all kinds of things right now, but in the moment, I don't really care because I'm so programmed that way. You know, when I'm feeling calm and good, I could say, oh, I could meditate. I could go for a walk. I could sit in the sun because we live in a sunny climate, except not today. It's raining. You know, do a puzzle, go exercise, drink water, blah, 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 blah. But if you are feeling a certain way, it doesn't really matter what's on your list of things to do. You're going to want to do what, maybe what you're programmed to do. So let's see what everyone is saying. Oh yeah, so Gina likes the idea of the chopsticks. Yeah, give it a try. It's really fun too. And for the soup, I remember just doing my best with the chopsticks for the pieces in it. And then I think I did use a spoon. They did have silverware there. Use a spoon for the liquid, or you can do like the Japanese and pick it up and drink the liquid that way. But it sure is fun. If you do that, let me know what you do and how you do. And if you're not used to these, you can always take a rubber band and tie it at the top and like make a makeshift version of the kids. The kids, they have these, actually you can buy these little pieces. And so it holds them together. But, and then I've also seen some people that said, well, I don't know how to use this. And they just stab it like a piece of watermelon or something. So let's see. Let's see. Oh, okay. Gina said, now I have friends that I get a virtual hug from instead of snacks. Yes. And I want to be one of those friends. And I hope I am, but I am sending virtual hugs instead of snacks to anyone that wants one right now, to all of you. And Anne says, I think it goes back to when we were babies and learned to eat with our hands. Doing it again, as in my mind, thinking about it the next day or time I'm hungry. Wow, that is really amazing. Yeah. Well, we have to learn to eat with our hands, right? The pinch or grasp thing, when they were little, all I remember is Cheerios. Give the baby a Cheerio so they can learn how to eat with their hands. But, one Cheerio shouldn't turn into a big bowl of something, and then it becomes this kind of thing. And nowadays, for myself, I wouldn't offer my kids Cheerios. Not that I'm not saying anything bad against the company. I'll keep my comments to myself. But in other words, I would rather eat a whole food. And so I think most of you know that by now. So let's see what else we have. Anne also said, I found that, as they say, give it a few minutes. That's also true. Maybe you're actually thirsty. I may just get a drink of water. When my youngest daughter, she would finish her meal and then she would say she wanted another. Can I have some more? And I thought, wow, she had plenty. I mean, these were big portions. And so I would say to her, wait 10 minutes because you just had a lot. And if you're still hungry in 10 minutes, you can have whatever you want. I wanted her body to have a chance to digest and register if she's really full. And most of the time, she didn't want it. She was full. Sometimes she did want it, and then we would go and she'd have whatever she wanted. But, sometimes we're in this movement, right? Our society and everybody's always moving around and doing and going and being. And so we do that with our food too. And that's why mindful eating is really good. And that was a good point. And I love the idea that, yeah, you might just be thirsty. And I do have some water sitting here as well, because that is a good thing to have in between meals. If you're trying to play around with no snacking and see, it's true, and you spot on. You might just be thirsty, and I am thirsty, so I'm going to take a sip of this. And oh man, it feels good going down when you're thirsty and you get a drink of water. Gina, yeah, that's another good one. And when I get hungry, I can't eat, drink a lot of water. Oh, wait, let me say that again. When I get hungry and I can't eat, then drink a lot of water. Yeah. So when you get hungry and you can't eat, meaning maybe you're not in a position, you're not in a place, like you're away from home, or you physically can't eat for whatever reason, even you're hungry. I'm wondering about that. Gina, yes, you are. And Janet, Anne and Tracy, etc. And good mommy teaching. Oh, thank you, Anne. Oh, Gina said when she's fasting. Yes. So drink a lot of water. Well, when you're fasting, that's a whole nother story, right? Why do we fast? I can say for myself, I like water fasting because I want my cells to regenerate. I want my body to clean up the old cells, get rid of stuff, start fresh. And so there's no snacking, there's no eating. It's resting from digesting. Hey, what do you think about that? I just made that up. I mean, you know how it sounded. Um, so yeah, so let's see. It's another rest for bodily function. It is. Fasting is an amazing thing, and I am not suggesting that anyone do fasting on their own. But if it is something that you're interested in, I do have recently. I put up my True North Health Center video if you're interested in my experience. But my point is to be monitored would be my suggestion. And, you know, you're going to do whatever you want. I have been monitored and it's really good. And I have, you know, I fast at home, but I'm not recommending that. I want you to get somebody to make sure that you're safe, because a lot of things can go bad if you aren't understanding what's happening. And depending on where you are, right, in your journey, and what medications you're on and all these kinds of things. But yeah, it's a great thing to allow the body to just rest. And intermittent fasting is also another one. And I try to do that daily. And I think that's a great thing, you know, for most people to do. Although, again, I'm not, you know, recommending anything, but it just gives the body more time to not be digesting. When I think of so many years when I was just on the go and I was eating and snacking and, you know, all this nonsense, well, no wonder I was sick. I mean, I'm not going to say that was the cause of my illnesses or my, you know, autoimmune and stuff, but I'm sure it wasn't helping, you know, not allowing the body to just do it. The body's so magical, isn't it? I mean, my goodness, we don't even have to think about half the stuff that's happening. You know how we fall asleep? There's is it serotonin that is released? There's a chemical that is released that puts us to sleep. I mean, I don't have control of, okay, it's time to release. And so for all these systems to work, I think it's important to consider when we eat. And again, if snacking is important. And then, of course, it's really hard when society has snacks all over the place. And I know a lot of you have heard this on different platforms, and Chef AJ talks about it a lot. You go into, you know, the vet, you go into the hardware store, you go into places where they're not selling foods, but yet there's candy, there's food, and it's not real food. It's bioengineered, scientific laboratory created food for us to consume. And, you know, with the commercials and all that stuff, you might have been full. You weren't even hungry. You're going to do your errand. You're minding your own business. And that wrapper clicks with something, and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna, you know, grab that. And it's all designed to get us to do that. The way that it's set up, down low things for little kids to say, Mom, can we grab these things? And so we have to really, you know, if you're on a similar platform or journey as I am, you really have to have a plan. So the plan could be, I know how I'm going to handle this situation when I'm at work, like Tracy, Serenity Blooms, when I'm out, when I'm doing errands, or even when I'm going to the grocery store to get the good food. What is my plan beforehand? Am I okay with snacking? Or do I want to know that I'm going to have my water? I'm going to make sure that I am full from the meal before I go into these places. And I think that can help us if we have that kind of a plan established. What do you guys think? Let me see what I have here. Okay, so nothing else from you guys. I just wanted to check. But, you know, so So ultimately, I would like to ask, oh, here's a comment. Gina said, it would blow us away. It would blow us away if we know all the ways stores like Walmart get us to buy more. Yeah. I mean, that's a big one because it's all over the country. And I don't know, is Walmart international? Oh, I think it might be. Well, it is a big one. And yeah, every aisle, I mean, all that stuff. And then even if you don't go into a store, right? You pass the billboards, you pass the advertisement, and now they have those digital ones. So they can feed you not just the one thing as you're passing by, but you might see 3 of them and, you know, all the fast food. And even I've driven by where I'm minding my own business and I'm on this road and I'm at a red light and I look over and there's a truck and it is plastered with pictures of things that I don't want to eat. So these are all triggers. They can be triggers for getting you to do something like that, you know, hand to mouth. When if maybe you were in your own home or you were hiking or you were, you know, deep in your work or whatever, you wouldn't even think about it because maybe you're not even hungry. So having a plan, I think, is really important. And yes, she said all stores. Oh, I can't. I'll have to wait until I can't see this for a second. Let's see. So, oh yeah, all stores. And so Todd just put a comment in under my name. So it says, there are so many psychological tricks marketers use to get you to buy things. And that's true. And that's not the only group, you know, because the food is supposed to, the food that we don't grow naturally, the processed food is designed to, once the marketers get you, then you have the memory if you've tasted something, and then it can have a lot of triggers. And it, you know, I always go back to the dopamine hit. I always find that to be fascinating. But you know, this is this can be a real problem for people, especially if you are, you know, not aware that this is something to consider, and be able to make the decision yourself, right? Instead of mindlessly doing a programmed thing like snacking. You could think consciously what you want to do. And let's say you're like, you know what? I want a snack today for whatever reason. Then what kinds of snacks? Hopefully you'll pick something that your body will thank you for, and not something that somebody designed to trick you to have. So that's an opinion of mine also. So anyways, I'm wondering if anyone has any other questions or any other topics that you want to talk about. Oh, let's see. Anne says, the commercials really bother me. But I think of others who are driving by fast food places, maybe with their kids, and then the commercials on during the kids programming on TV. And you're exactly right. And you know, even there are companies, you know, like the big McDonald's and other fast food restaurants that target children with the toys and the Happy Meals and like all these kinds of things. And then sometimes that's relentless, right? The kid knows they've already had the flavor in their mouth because you've already, you know, and then it's like mom or dad or aunt or grandma or whoever, you know, and it's like a nonstop, please, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then sometimes we're just under so much stress and we're tired and we're hungry and we're cranky and we need some emotional comfort. And, you know, don't forget my hug I'm sending, but in the moment, you might just go, okay, whatever. And especially if you don't realize what's happening in the body. And yeah, and it's unfortunate. It really is. Let's see. The drug cure-alls with dancing and singing. Yep. Well, you know what? I do a lot of dancing and singing, and I don't need any of that. So if anyone ever wants to do some dancing and singing, You can grab a carrot or not. You could do a celery. You could do a chopstick or two, even a fork, or back in the old days, a hairbrush, and use that as your mic, right? So it's all good. And so that's fun. Anyways, da-da-da. So I don't know if anybody, oh, you go, Jennifer, we love you. Thank you. Hugs right back at you. Yeah, that's actually just to go back on dancing and singing, that is a great outlet for emotional stress, and to put in place of snacking, especially if you've already eaten and you're not really hungry. And boy, it gives you the same kind of hit, right? That feel good hit that we all long for. We all long to feel good. I think it was last night. I think we were making dinner, and I turned the music on, and I had to step away from the chopping of the vegetables to go in the other room and get my groove on. And the next thing I know, my husband was joining me, and he was rocking out playing his pretend bass guitar. we were having a good time. And eventually, yeah, we got back to making the meal and having it, and we did not have any snacks. So that's kind of fun and a really good memory. So do you guys do that? Does anybody like dance in their kitchen or dance around in their house? I actually have a microphone in my car. It's not connected to anything, but I do sing in my mic while I'm driving. I have been known in the area to do that. I am proud to do that. It's fun, and it's better than hand to mouth food from a drive-through or from whatever. So good one. I appreciate that, bringing that up. And so, I don't know if anybody has anything else you want to discuss, or if you want to just even comment about your personal feelings on snacking. I'd love to hear from you. Do you think that snacking is a good thing? Is there a time or a place for it? Is it an age thing? Do you think kids need snacks versus teenagers, adults, older people? I think there's something to be said about that because of the energy level and the growth pattern. So I'd love to hear if anybody wants to comment on that, and whether you snack, or is this new to you? Have you heard about this before? And is it of interest to you to try to get away from snacking and eat more, more satiating or more amounts of food in the mealtime? I do snack. I gotta tell you, one of my favorite snacks is Wellbean. Wellbean, and I don't have any right now because I'm eating them all. But when we go hiking, I do take a lot of salads and fresh foods. I take dehydrated fruit. I do take a lot of the good stuff, but I also love Wellbean. I think that their products are really good, and this isn't a selling thing or anything, but I like that they have beans in their product. And, so there's something to be said for like, when is it appropriate to snack? And so for me, I think hiking is an appropriate time to snack. We usually hike in to wherever we're going, and then we sit down and we eat. Well, that's our opportunity. If we don't want to eat, we don't have to. And we do. I take out oatmeal, I've done at times, and other fresh fruits and vegetables. But then I do enjoy a Wellbean. So if you haven't tried it, check them out. Jicama. Oh, yes. I love that. Wait, before that, I see Anne said, I think it's mostly mindless eating, TV, movies, because most of the time we aren't sitting down at a table. Yes, and I had touched on that earlier. I'm not sure if you were here, but it's actually really important, in my opinion, to be sitting down at a table, even if you're by yourself or if you're with family. It's such an opportunity to get away from the mindless state of another screen to look at, and you don't even know what you ate. Has anyone ever driven and you're like, I don't even know how I got home? You're like this autopilot, kind of the same way with food. Let me see. Oh, wait. Hiking. Yeah. Let's see. Wait, hold on. Okay. Jicama and sugar snap peas for snacks. You know, those are great ones. Janet, I love those also for hiking snacks. Are those snacks that you bring on your bike? I don't know if you had a chance to answer. If you're in a place now, I'd love to hear about, do you snack when you ride? Because I know you bring your own food, but do you try to do meals? Or do you just eat well, I know a lot of us eat when you're hungry, but when you're hungry, does that mean you're hungry for a meal? Or does that mean you just ate an hour ago, you're hungry and you're snacking, okay? So, and carrots, yes. And hiking, you're moving and expanding energy. Yeah, that's true. And it feels so good to be out. And I always bring, and everything we pack, I bring a lot of Tupperware containers and we bring our own silverware and stuff like that. But of course, if we have a Wellbean bar or something, I always make sure to take it and not litter or ruin our beautiful foliage that we have and hills and all of that. Raw asparagus. Whoa. I am going to grab some. I have raw asparagus right now. I never think of eating raw asparagus just to eat it, but here it is. So let's put it in our pile. Wow. Now, raw asparagus is great. I usually cut it in salads as raw or put it in some of those rolled raw sushi type rolls for a meal. But this would be good to dip in the hummus that I showed earlier. And I like that. Yes, she said, meal, to wrap. Oh, okay. And right now you're having jicama, you're starving. Raw asparagus is great. I love raw asparagus. If you peel the ends, they're tender. Yes, I learned that, I think, with you. And I do that. So if you take, what she's saying is, and God, where did I learn that? I think we saw that. Janet, did we see that at JP's? We saw that somewhere. Let me just, before I answer that. So what she's saying is you take a peeler, of course you would wash this, I have not, and you peel the end, just the end. And it takes this real fibrous part off, which sometimes, is hard to chew. And then you can eat it all the way. Now, I would still cut the tip off. And you can peel off as much as you want to make sure that this is getting kind of clogged up. But you get the point. And so we learned that. I think we learned that together. You correct me if I'm wrong. But that was like a real eye-opening thing. So let's see. Gina says, Jennifer would love to see a grocery haul of you buying similar things every week. Well, I think we have a grocery haul coming up that's going to be actually coming out. Do you know when? It'll be coming out next week. So, but I will do that more often. And it was a small one. It wasn't really planned. It just kind of happened. So thank you. Okay. I'll definitely do that. I love doing that. So that would be great. Chef Bravo. Oh, is that where we saw it? Chef Bravo peeled the ends? Is that what you're saying, Gina? Well, somebody did. And, somewhere, not sure, Janet. Okay. And then Janet's saying, hi, Todd. Hi, Janet. He's in the background and helping me today. So, since you are now aware, come on over. Since I've broken my silence. So, yeah, come on over. And just, I would like to just ask if you wouldn't mind sharing about snacking in your perspective. Here's Todd, everybody. Say hello, everybody. I always have to kneel down because you're tinier than I am. Hey, I'm standing perfectly straight. Right. Here I am on my tiptoes. Nice. So Gina said hi. Hi, Gina. Hello, that's everyone. Where I saw it. Okay, I'm sorry. So I come from a big snacking background. It's a favorite pastime of my family's. And, I think it comes down to, at least for me, a few things, either boredom
I've got nothing to do, so I might as well stuff my face, right?
Oh, that's a really good one. And Anne said hello. Yes.
Hello, Anne.
Boredom. Yeah. I mean, I got to just stop for a second to talk about boredom.
Yep.
I think boredom is a choice.
It totally is. Absolutely.
Because
there's plenty of things I could find to do. I just don't want to do them. I'd rather snack.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so boredom, I think, is one. I think hunger. Sometimes I'm just hungry, but I don't want to make anything, or I don't want to, pull anything out of the fridge and have to, cut it up or whatever, or ask Jennifer to make something. So it's just easier to grab something small, right, and kind of tide myself over. And I will usually have a banana or something like that to do that. So I think there's hunger, boredom. I think there's just
I thought of when you're ready.
Habit, right? So habit meaning, it's football season. I'm watching a game, right? So growing up, what have we always done? Oh, you get some chips and salsa or whatever it is, and you sit down and you watch the game. So there's those types of mental, psychological triggers as well. I guess my question back to you is, some of these are, like popcorn you had talked about, are, pretty empty snacks. But an apple or a pear or asparagus, if you're going to snack on something, that seems to me to be a healthier option, right? So what is, in your opinion, what are good snacks, still being whole food, plant-based and healthy, versus what are the things that are just garbage snacks, even though they're still healthy? And then what I found interesting also is the idea that when I'm snacking, my body is now busy digesting and not doing the things that my body might need to do.
Yeah, so that's a lot. So before I answer that, I just want to throw in something that I know you do on occasion.
Uh-oh.
And no, it's just another thing to share. I often have seen you snack while you're on the computer.
Oh, 100%.
And that's kind of, when I say you're on the computer, usually working, but it's kind of goes along with like the same thing with the TV and the movies, and just you don't really know what you're eating. You just go, oh, the bag is empty or whatever, right? Is that what you find, or do you find that you get full when you're doing
no,
that?
I certainly don't get full by snacking. I think it's habitual. I think it is.
I agree.
A psychological anchor that I have attached to the task or the activity of being at the computer, like biting your nails or cracking your knuckles or things like that. I think when I sit at the computer and I'm there for a while, I just have attached this invisible thread to I should be snacking at the same time.
Okay, so let's see what it says in the comments, and then I'll try to answer your question here. So you've got hi Todd, and then you've got veggies and starch. Yep. Fruit is not satiating. Okay, so that's one comment. So here's what I would say.
Yes.
I would want to ask you to ask yourself some more questions.
Okay, what questions should I ask?
Well, first of all, I think it depends on what your end goal is. So, first of all, are you someone that is trying to be aware of some of the things that we spoke about in terms of to snack or not to snack, regardless of what the snack is? Maybe you want to try to give your body time and you're trying to heal or whatever it is. Maybe you're trying to lose weight or, whatever it is. Maybe you're trying to, be more aware of what it feels like to actually be hungry or be full. And if you're snacking all the time, you might not get that opportunity. So I think one thing I would ask you to ask yourself, and not just you, but like anyone, is what are your goals in that respect? And so you can either answer that or I can keep going.
I think it depends on the reason that, if it's boredom, right? My goal is to distract myself from being bored or to avoid doing what I should be doing.
Well, so what is your goal then? I mean, if someone just saw you on the street, you don't look like you need to lose weight.
It's true.
And I think overall, you have said that you feel good, like you're not healing from something. You haven't recently had a surgery or a stroke or a heart attack, thank goodness. But there are reasons, I would imagine, that you want to try to improve your health through food. And, those things might not be visible to the outside eye, right?
Right.
Some people, you can see it on the outside, and some people you can't. And just because like you look like this doesn't mean you don't have visceral fat on the inside around your organs and different things like that, right? I'm just trying to say, like, so I guess it depends on what your goal is. So if you were to say to me, oh, my goal is I don't want to get back on my blood pressure medication. So, then we would start from there. And then it's just kind of like, it's just, I think it's so many different things, right? Because snacking can mean so many things to so many people. You talked about boredom. Somebody else talked about emotion. I mean, is there a time when you would snack because you were emotional or sad or in distress of some sort? Or maybe it's not food for you. Maybe you go to something different, Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of like, I know we're talking about snacking, but I think that this goes into different branches. And then your other point was, well, what is a good snack? Well, if you are snacking, then you got to look at your goal, right? Are you trying to gain weight? Maybe you've had cancer and you are underweight, and a good snack would be a green smoothie with peanut butter and higher caloric in a large amount, right? Versus somebody who is okay to snack, but they're trying to lose weight, or they're trying to bring some of their numbers down. The greens, the salads, the fruit, things that are intact, and they have the fiber and the water in them. I think, maybe for somebody that would be a good way to go. And then the other things, I mean, for me, this is all just my opinion or based on what I know or my experience, can be done in foods like, right, raisins. I would much rather eat grapes because I know it's going to give me more bang for my buck during a meal or at the end of a meal. But I think there's a place for raisins. I enjoy raisins in a dish, like a slaw or some kind of amazing salad. And it's just a small amount. Some people might say this is the snack and they're eating, half a bag of raisins. And so then you go back to, well, what are you getting for that? You're getting, and if you've ever seen Chef AJ or some other people that teach about, calorie density, and she's got these jars she shows in some of these films, it's a jar like this that's supposed to represent your stomach, right? And then she'll put grapes, a pound worth of grapes, and then, what is the equivalent in calories, and it's just a small amount. So there's nothing really that you get full on. And then even if you did get full on it, you have to eat so many, and then what is happening inside of you? Are you attaining your goal?
Well, and so I think, there's so many ways to unwrap this, right? Am I snacking because I'm hungry, which is different than I'm snacking to replace something else, an emotion or a behavior or an activity, right? If I'm snacking because I'm hungry and I eat 5 of these pears, I'm now bordering on having a meal. So I should probably just have a meal, right? If I just have, half of this celery stick or a banana and then move on to some of these tiger nuts and then maybe some raisins, I'm clearly either trying to replace something else and be busy. And I think, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. I think
it sounds like you need a meal.
I got lost in that thought.
It sounds like you need a meal.
Yeah.
But at any rate, Yeah. So does anyone have anything to comment on, like some of Todd's thoughts or your own, or anything else that we talked about before we wrap up? Just going to give them a minute to see if anything comes through. But, even like, so I'll just say while we wait a minute, I have this, partially eaten apple because I didn't finish it with my meal.
Yeah.
This was intended to be finished with my meal. And so I think that I might eat it as a snack, right? Because it was part of the meal. But I might think about, well, how close am I to the next meal? Do I want to just give myself that extra 45 minutes or whatever amount of time to just settle? And then I often cut this up into pieces and throw it in a salad. So anyhow, I don't know if that, and I don't see anything else coming through. So, I think that, of course, this is just food for thought, just to share some ideas. And if you're watching this, Anne says, I grab a potato. See?
Yeah.
So that's good too. If you're watching this as a replay, please feel free to go ahead and put in the comments something. I would love to continue this conversation. I think it's a really important conversation with a lot of avenues to it. And yes, thank you for being here, Anne. And it's just interesting to think about things in a different light that we're not used to thinking about in certain ways, and even like, I know for some people that are, Janet especially, she has mentioned before that that she's trying to be more in tune with when she's full. And I think most people, I'm speaking for myself, I wasn't raised like that. I had snacks and all kinds of stuff, but we do the best we can. And so it's nice to have this opportunity to share in a community and just talk about things and discover together. So I appreciate everybody taking some time out and hanging out with us. And thank you for coming in too, because I know you don't always like to do that.
I'm happy to share my opinions.
And Gina said, this was great, Jennifer. And I'm so glad that you think so. It's important that I, bring up topics that I think are valuable to others. I also would just like to quickly, before signing off, if anyone is interested in seeing regular lives from me, I was thinking about doing them twice a month, Fridays, maybe around this same time. I would love any feedback. And even if this is a replay for you, I would love to hear any feedback. So if you missed the beginning and you're here live, please go back and watch the beginning. I talked a little bit about the NHA and some other things that you might be interested in. So anyways, don't forget to eat your greens. Think about snacking. And thank you so much for tuning in and sharing this time with us. I do appreciate it. Truly, truly, truly. To good health. I love all of you guys. Take care, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I'm so glad everybody enjoyed. Bye-bye.